I'm Lauren Whitehurst. I'm a certified personal trainer and certified nutrition coach.
Hi, I'm Sunny Lippincott. I'm a certified professional life coach and a certified brain health professional.
We also have Angela Salyers, who is a licensed professional counselor, and the three of us together make up
Whole Life Vitality.
We teach whole life vitality of the mind, body, and soul, bringing the physical, emotional, and spiritual together for whole life wellness. Hey friends, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Okay, so we are here and we want to talk to you about something that really gets us both fired up.
Yes.
So, Sunny, you brought it up because you were just having this conversation with someone. So I'll let you take the lead on this one.
Okay, so if you have never taken the Enneagram test, you should take it.
It's a fun one.
It's a fun test.
Personality profiling.
Yes, it's a fun personality
Yeah.
test. And so I am a 6. So if you do not know, the 6 is the loyalist.
Yes.
So to put it very bluntly, like if you hurt those I love, I'm coming after you. So that's what a 6.
You know what Mama Bear is,
Whew.
but that like goes out to anyone
to
who she cares
all
about.
the ones that I love. So I am loyal to those that I love. So, my friends, I'm very protective over my friends. Like very protective. They don't need me to protect them, but I am very protective over them. So I recently, one of my best friends, she is just one of the kindest hearts that you will ever meet. She wants to help. In any capacity, she just wants to help. She has, and I will not call her a friend, I will call her an acquaintance because there is a difference. She has an acquaintance that continues to reach out to her only when she needs something from her. Now, my best friend, she is an empath, so she feels everything. She feels very deeply, so she cares. So when this person comes to her with this problem, my friend, and she knows my friend's an empath, she plays into that. Well, what it is it's a contract. Hey, I need this, and you're really smart and you're really capable, so give me the answer to it. And then after she has gotten what she needs, there is a ghosting.
So she's
happens.
not looking for a friendship. She's calling it a friendship, but she's not looking for a friendship. She's looking for a relational contract.
Yes, for a relational contract. Okay. That's exactly what that is. But it hurts my friend, as it should, because because
she was just used.
Yes, and she has reached out to this person to ask them for, prayer and for help on things, and she's not reciprocated, and that hurts her. Yeah, it's not very often. No.
My feelings are hurt for her.
Yes, it's very sad. And so I started thinking, this is something that people struggle with quote unquote friendships.
Right.
Thinking that when someone comes at you, that it's constantly one-sided.
Yeah.
They need something that in order to be a good person, to be a good friend, maybe to be a good Christian, that you help your brother, in need.
That you're just give all day long. Give, say the little stream.
Yes. And I don't put on my coach hat with my friendships very often because, you don't want that.
Well, it's a different relationship.
It's a different relationship. But I had to get a little bit, my sixness came out, and I had to get a little bit stern with her and say, this is not okay.
Yeah.
This is you being used.
Well, and if she was treating herself in a way that was harmful to her, you would say, stop being mean to my friend.
Yes, which I've actually said to her before.
Right. So then someone else is treating her in a way that is not kind. And you're like, stop letting her be mean to my friend.
Yes, absolutely. And so I really thought we need to talk about healthy friendships.
Yes.
What does a healthy friendship look like? Because I don't think we all, even as adults, even
Yeah.
as 40-year-old women,
Yeah.
we have an understanding of what a healthy friendship should look like.
This has taken me, when I say decades, we're 40, right? When decades to figure out, because all of my 20s, and again, coming from a place of trauma, coming from a place where I thought that I was only as valuable as what I could give, then all of my 20s, I would pour into people until I could give nothing else.
Yeah.
And they would just
Very common.
take until I had nothing left.
Yeah.
And then the friendship would fall apart and I would be devastated. I'm like,
Absolutely.
what did I do wrong? I was such a good friend to them. I did all these things.
It must be you, right?
And I just blamed myself for years. And it wasn't until I learned about healthy boundaries and how to put those in place and how to have that give and take in a relationship and what that looks like. And it's not like a tit for tat sort of situation. It's that we both care about each other.
Yes.
And we both care about each other's well-being.
Yes.
And we want us both to feel good, us both to feel love, us both to feel like we're cared for.
Yes.
In any relationship, and that's friendship or otherwise, any relationship, there should be a healthy give and take.
Absolutely. So you don't know what you need until you know what you don't need. So
Yes.
what is an unhealthy friendship? And I use that term loosely. What does an unhealthy friendship look like?
Oh my goodness. I have a friend who was just telling me a story about a woman who does not have healthy boundaries. And she had made it very clear to this woman that she wasn't feeling well and did not want visitors. I mean, spelled it out very clearly. And then this woman just showed up at her door. And because she wanted someone to talk to, or because she needed something, or whatever her reason was, it was not an emergency. It was not, I'm trying to do this nice thing for you. It was a selfish act of, I'm putting my needs over your boundaries.
That is an unhealthy friendship.
Yeah.
When you literally are not able to convey your desires or your needs,
Yes.
and they are heard.
Yep.
That's an unhealthy friendship. That's an excellent example.
Yeah.
What she needed was rest. And the friend said, well, in her mind, what I'm dealing with is really important, and it's more important than that. So,
And this is a friend who has had a hard time setting boundaries in the past.
Yeah.
And so I encouraged her. I said, that's so fantastic, because this is giving you practice.
Yes.
You can practice setting healthy boundaries, and good for you for actually vocalizing what you needed in that moment and telling her no. Yes, she didn't honor that, but good for you for doing it
yes.
anyway.
So if you are not being heard in the friendship,
Yeah.
that's unhealthy. If you are constantly the one that has to reach out and, engage and
Yep.
check on them and see how they're doing and, hey, strike up the conversation. If you are constantly the one that is doing the work,
Yeah.
that is also an unhealthy friendship.
And not that you want to test friendships, not that you want to put them through that trial, but for me, if I feel like things are getting a little one-sided, I will step back and say, I'm just going to give it a few days.
Yes.
And I'm just going to give a little space, and we'll see, one, do I miss them? Do they miss me? Do they reach out? Do I feel the need to reach back out again?
Yes.
And just what happens there? What does that ultimately end up looking like
Yes.
if I don't push quite so hard?
Right. I did have someone that told me that, it was very difficult for them because they had known this person for a very long time, but they realized they themselves were going through something really difficult.
Yeah.
And they continued to reach out to this person. They were kind of, letting them know what was going on in their life. And still that person was not reaching back,
Right.
wasn't checking in, wasn't asking them, how can I help? Is there anything that I can do?
Do you need to
Do you need to talk? Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a constant. And that was so difficult because they had known each other for a long time, but she realized this is not a friendship. this is one-sided for me. And I feel if you're walking away feeling like you are being a pest
Yes.
to them,
Yes.
that's not a healthy friendship.
What is it they say? When people show you who they are, believe them.
Yes.
When people tell you who they are, believe them.
Yes.
And this is just one of those actions, because for me, what I think is, at this point in my healthier mental state that I'm in these days, when I'm telling someone I need something, and I'm saying I need to talk, or I'm really struggling, or can we make time for this, or whatever, and that's not reciprocated, then what I think is they don't have time or capacity for me.
Absolutely.
And that's okay. And
Absolutely.
I step back. I'm like, it's not that they're mad at you. It's not that they hate you. It's not that they are gossiping about you or whatever, don't want to be your friend. It's that they don't have time or capacity for what you're going through right now. And whereas that might hurt a little bit because you felt like you needed them, they're not the only people that you can talk to.
Absolutely. So yes, unhealthy. Third, and this happens more often than people realize, when you are being made fun of by your so-called friends, whether it's
The jokes at your expense.
Yes. Whether it's your lifestyle, the things that you've changed about yourself, maybe you're trying a new healthy lifestyle and they make fun of you for what you eat, or for how you're moving your body. Or if you have a purpose and a passion in your life and you share that with them and they make fun of it, or, it's different when you are trying to talk to someone for understanding. Like, that's interesting. Can you tell me more? Or you really think that you're going to be able to do that? Those types of things. When they are clearly unhappy with themselves and they're taking it out on you. But if they have to put you down to lift them up, that is an unhealthy friendship.
And I feel like I've just known so many people like that. And now that when I see those relationships, it hurts me. It hurts my heart, because I know the jokes are coming from a broken place.
Yes.
And they're not happy either, but then they're putting that unhappiness on other people. I was out to lunch with some friends, and it was great. We were all enjoying our lunch, and gosh, it makes me nervous even to share this story. That's so interesting. And I was just saying something about the way I feed my children. They were talking about wanting to incorporate some healthier items in their children's lunches, and I said something about what I do, and one of them looks at me and she goes, "You're just kind of extra." And everyone laughed. And it hurt my feelings.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, what do I do with that? So I just kind of sat with it for a minute, and we finished the meal, and it was okay, and I moved on. And I'm the kind of person who looks in the mirror.
Right.
So I'm like, what's extra? What does that mean? How was I in that moment? Was this a reflection of me? Was this a reflection of her? And what it boiled down to was yes to all of it. It's a reflection of me. It's a reflection of her. It's a reflection of everyone. And we're all a little bit extra, and that's okay. But in that moment, that was hurtful to me. And
it's not. I always tell people, I'm like, what was backing it?
Yeah.
So in that moment, you heard a need, and as a nutritionist, as someone who, focuses on nutrition, you are a personal trainer, you're a health coach.
Yeah.
You thought, they're asking. It's not that you tried to put it on them. They asked a question. And so you said, out of a place of help, this is what I do.
Yeah.
And what happened was, when they heard that, it made them feel less than. And so they make fun of you.
Yeah.
But the reason it hurt is because you were not trying to make it sound like I have it all figured out or I'm better than you.
Right.
It was, you saw a need, and as a friend, you wanted to help.
And my takeaway from that ultimately ended up being, this isn't a safe place to show up authentically
Yes.
as myself.
Yes.
And if you can't show up authentically as yourself in a friendship, maybe they're more of an acquaintance.
And that is where we start. What is a healthy friendship? And that is a place that you can be you.
Yeah.
You can be you. You're not on, quote unquote, that, on that people are, when they're on social media or, out in class or whatever it is, when you're at work, when you're on. This is me. This is stripped down.
Yeah. Raw, authentic, real.
Not the how are you today? I'm great. This is the how are you today? I'm not doing well. I'm struggling. That's the friendship. When you can be honest about who you are with this person, then that is your friend.
And there are varying degrees of friendship.
Yeah.
I think the ones that you're really, really close with, that you'll cry with, the ones that maybe you'll
Yes.
share a meal with. I think there's a whole lot of steps between I just met you and acquaintance and closer acquaintance and friendship and closer friend and best friend. The level. What do they say? That are you a 5-minute friend, a 5-hour friend, or a 5-day friend?
Yes.
Would you spend 5 minutes with them? Would you go to lunch with them? Or would you spend a weekend away with them?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And you'll find as you age, it has for me, it has begun
The
to
circle gets
shrink.
smaller and smaller.
Smaller and smaller and smaller because I'm very cautious about my mindset now. And we are all reflections
Yep.
of our environment, who we're around. So you are going to take on that person's energy. You're going to take on that person's ideals. You're going to take on that person's outlook.
Yep.
And so I'm very cautious about that. I have those, friends that I can talk to and just have a quick conversation, in passing. But I know who my, go on vacation friends are.
And you become the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with.
Yes.
So say you have one friend in the group who's just super, super negative,
Yeah.
and she brings people down. We'll go back to math, right? So if if there's 5 people and there's a sum, then 20% of you becomes just like that person.
Right.
And so not that there's no space in our lives for people like that, but maybe the amount of time we spend with them becomes
Limited space.
very, very, very small.
And that's really what I want to get into, your friends and your acquaintances. So when we're talking about friendship here, I'm talking about those ones that you allow into your space.
Yeah.
So this is your, what was it on Meet the Fockers? What did he call it?
I don't even remember now.
Your circle of trust.
Circle of trust.
Circle of trust.
That's what it was.
That's what it is. You're in the circle of trust. So when you have those friends that are the unhealthy friendships, but you've allowed them into your circle of trust,
Yeah.
that is when the problems arise. You can have acquaintances. They can be acquaintances that spend the 5 minutes.
Yep.
But if you are just doing and doing and doing for them and emotionally getting hurt over and over and over again, you've allowed them to penetrate that circle.
Yeah.
And that's not a healthy space. So, your friends are the ones that you're reflecting. Do you want to reflect on those friendships? Like that, when you let those into your circle, do you reflect what they are giving, what they're bringing into you?
And when an acquaintance ghosts you, your
Yeah,
feelings don't
you-
get hurt.
you
You're just
know.
like, you brush it off. No big
Yeah.
deal. They're like, oh, well, they're busy or they didn't want to or whatever. You
Yeah.
probably don't even think about it.
Yes.
But when someone that you've let in doesn't reply to you, then
That hurts.
It's deep.
That hurts.
It cuts to the core.
Yes. And that's affecting.
Yeah.
It's affecting you. And over time, it just keeps beating you down. So really assessing your friendships versus your acquaintances.
And then-
understand the difference.
Yeah, and then set healthy boundaries.
Setting healthy
so
boundaries.
let them in as far as you feel comfortable letting them in. And when things hurt you, then have constructive conversations about that with the people who are in that circle of trust, who are in
Yes.
that inner circle. Because if they're if you love them enough, you trust them enough to have invited them in, then they're worth having those conversations with.
Yes.
The hard, uncomfortable conversations. And if you can have those conversations with them, they can stay there.
Yeah.
And if they can't have those conversations and work through things, then they don't belong on your inner circle.
Then they are not in your circle.
Yeah.
They're not in your circle of trust.
Yeah.
So assess that, because you are who you hang around with.
Yep.
And are they bringing you up? Are they edifying you? Are they there for you? Mm-hmm. Truly, are they there for you? Are they the ones that are checking in because they haven't heard from you in a little while? Are they your friends that you're like, hey, this is going on, would you pray for me? Absolutely. Are those the people that you've let in? Or are these the people that, are making their marks in really emotionally damaging ways?
Right. Oof. Yeah. Dig deep. Look at those relationships and see where everything lands.
And my husband was telling me, actually, he said this in a sermon. He said, support isn't always saying what the other person wants to hear.
Right.
And that's a truth in friendship for sure. Mm-hmm. I have surrounded myself with people that say things that hack me off all the time.
Yep.
It hacks me off because I'm mad because they're right. And I just want to be mad sometimes. But they say, and listen, I'm going to say this because I love you.
Yeah.
And it's a perspective that I know is right.
Yeah.
But I'm just over here wanting to be mad. But I have those friendships and they'll say, I'm sorry, I know that's not what you wanted to hear. And I said, you know what? You're my friend because you say the things that I don't want to hear.
And not because they're hateful, but because they're constructive.
Because they're constructive and because they're what I need in the moment to become solution based instead of problem focused.
Right.
Now they can hear me. And there's plenty of times in friendships where, they're just having a bad day and they need to be heard.
Yep.
And that's okay. But there are the times when they've heard me and they've heard me and they've heard me and they're like, okay, now let's talk. Let's really talk.
Yeah.
I've listened enough. Let's talk. And that's why they're in my circle. So take an assessment. If you have that friend that just keeps tearing you down, bringing you down, then it's time to set some boundaries. Mm-hmm. It's time to take the steps to move them from your circle to an acquaintance. It's time to separate. It's time to stop shaming yourself for not being there, quote unquote, for them. It's time to change your perspective and see what's really there.
And if you step back and leave that space in their lives, someone else will fill that space.
Absolutely.
So if that's not a healthy friendship for you, it's probably not a healthy friendship for them either. Yep. And if there's a hole there, someone else will take it.
They sure will.
Yeah.
Because you're giving them room.
Yeah.
Right now you don't have the room because it's filled with someone that's not helping you.
Yep.
But when you clear that space, you have room for someone to step in that wants to be there.
Yep.
So if you have any questions about that, even about setting a boundary, what that looks like, I do have people reaching out to me and I want to talk to them specifically about what's going on. Tell me what's happening here. And if you need help setting a boundary with one of your friends, let us know. We would love to give you some help in that and kind of, brainstorm, because that's what coaching is. It's brainstorming. It's not us always telling you what to do.
Right.
That's not coaching. Coaching is brainstorming.
Finding what works for you.
Finding what works for you. So we want to take that step with you and, just kind of help come up with really constructive ways that you can, break free of that and start implementing healthy boundaries in your life. So let us know. We're here.
Yeah, you can message us privately or you can comment. We will, if you give us a public comment, we will actually reply to your comment in one of our shows here.
Yes.
So then we can do a whole podcast
Absolutely.
about whatever it is you're asking. So just let us know where you are, what we can help you with, and make sure that you like, subscribe, follow, all the things. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.